The CDC is facing formidable challenges in convincing conservatives to get COVID-19 vaccines, but vaccine hesitancy isn't just falling on political lines, but religious ones as well. White evangelicals are the most hesitant, with 40% saying they likely will not get vaccinated, compared to 25% of all Americans who say the same. I want to talk about this now with the Reverend Franklin Graham, who is president and CEO of Samaritan's Purse and the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. Sir, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Brianna, for having me.
So you are trying to convince evangelicals to get vaccinated. You're also leading by example. You were fully vaccinated yourself. How are you feeling about having that protection against the virus?
Well, first of all, Brianna, I'm 68 years old, and the last thing I need is COVID. It could probably kill me at my age. And so I would encourage people to get the vaccine if you are my age or older. It's so important. And with Samaritan's Purse, we have treated a lot of COVID patients right there in New York City, Italy, the Bahamas, Los Angeles County with our medical hospitals. It's a disease you don't want. It's a virus that can kill you. And we have had a number of our staff that have been extremely sick on respirators for several months, and it's just not worth the risk. I would encourage people to pray about it, think about it. Certainly would never want to tell somebody you have to have it, or I think the government would make a big mistake to mandate this. It's a personal choice. My wife and I made a personal choice, but you know, Brianna, Jesus Christ, when he came to this earth, he used his power as the Son of God to bring healing to people's bodies. And we as Christians, we want to follow his example and use modern medicine to bring healing to people. And of course, the vaccine prevents this virus, or can, and it's just a good way to go. And I would encourage people to pray about it and really consider it. It's so important because it can save life. And of course, Brianna, I'm pro-life, and I want to save life.
We've talked before on the show about your voice on this topic, and it's so important because you are an incredibly prominent evangelical voice in the country speaking out in favor of vaccines. At the same time, and you're aware of this, there are many evangelical pastors who have been spreading a lot of disinformation to their congregants about the virus and also vaccines. Let's listen.
And somebody get a little close, they go. That's called germophobic. Watch this. You think I'm sucking the virus off of her?
I came today to declare victory over the virus.
COVID-19! COVID-19! I blow the wind of God.
The wind of God.
On you.
On you.
You are destroyed forever.
You are destroyed forever.
And you'll never be back.
So you'll recognize that some of those are from March and April of last year. But if you track a lot of those pastors, you know, occasionally you run into one who now admits that basically COVID exists. But this disinformation is still very prevalent, and it's spreading not just about coronavirus, but about the vaccine. You're aware that evangelicals are one of the most skeptical groups, white evangelicals especially, of vaccine and COVID facts. What do you say to their pastors about their responsibility?
Well, first of all, these pastors that you had on television, they represent such a small percentage of the Christian base. And I would just ignore those guys. I'm talking about the individual pastor Sunday after Sunday who gets up in his pulpit, who preaches the gospel of Jesus Christ, tells people how to turn from their sins and receive Christ by faith into their heart, to their life. These pastors are out there in the trenches every day. And I would encourage these pastors just to inform their congregation about where they can get a vaccine if they want a vaccine, and give them, you know, information. Not try to coerce them, but just give them information. But the coronavirus is the real deal. It can make you extremely sick. It can kill you. And Samaritan's Purse, we have been dealing with this. We have seen it firsthand. And so I know what it can do. And I'm afraid for people who just are very cavalier about it. You need to take the precautions. I believe that masks have worked. I believe that hand sanitizers have worked. I believe social distancing has worked. And now, of course, we're lifting that, and I think that's good. But people still need to be cautious, Brianna. We're not out of the woods yet, and the coronavirus is going to be around for a while. And I would encourage people to consider the vaccine if they haven't considered it. Again, I took it. I was sick for one day. I felt like I was coming down with the flu, just one day, and boom, then I was over it. And I still function. I traveled that day to California, did some filming that day, even though I didn't feel good. But that was just a reaction, and I talked to doctors. They said, well, that's normal, and that was a good sign that you had a reaction. But I would encourage people just to pray about it. And you talk about the numbers. It's like 45% of the evangelicals say they won't take it, but 45% of all blue-collar workers say they're not going to take it. In Germany, 50% of all the nurses say they're not going to take it. I mean, so that you got a large group of people out here, and these numbers are shifting. But I think with the evangelical community, the numbers are shifting downward. I think they're learning, they're getting more information, and they're beginning to see through this, and I think they'll take it.
I mean, I will say, I don't know if it's fair to minimize the reach of some of these pastors, or look, they may just be reinforcing what some of their congregants already feel. We have looked at what they've said. These are pastors, not just the ones we showed, but a number of them who speak to millions upon millions of people. So there are definitely people listening to them. But I want to ask you, because the disinformation that we're seeing driving vaccine hesitancy among evangelicals, it's really part of a bigger disinformation problem that includes, lies about the outcome of the 2016 election that Trump, not Biden, won, which many evangelicals believe, which is something that you have given life to. Do you have any regrets about publicly doubting the outcome of the 2016 election?
No,
or 2020, I'm sorry.
You've got about 73 you've got about 73 million Americans out there that have some concerns about the election. And listen, I think it's time we move on. The election is over with. We got to move on as a country, move forward. President Biden is the president.
It's
and
not
I'm
over,
gonna do
sir.
all I
Sir,
can to try to support
respectfully,
him if I can.
Reverend, respectfully, it's not over for a lot of people. It is not. I mean, we're looking at this audit going on in Arizona. So do you? So then, how do you square what? So you don't believe what you said before in December about believing Trump when he said it was rigged?
There are 73 million plus people out there that feel there was funny business in that election. I've moved on, Brianna. We're trying to save people's lives. We've got a real crisis in front of us, and I want to work with the Biden administration, if we can, to try to get information out that would save life. And to me, the election is behind us. President Biden won. He's sworn in. And let's just move on. As a nation, I think it's so important that we move on.
With all due respect, sir, I understand that you're saying that, but there are people who doubt the outcome of the election. They are not moving on. And many folks, including yourself, told them not to, essentially, or to question the outcome of this election. You did it more than a month after the outcome of the election. Do you stand corrected? Is what you said incorrect?
No, I don't think it's incorrect. I'm just saying, Brenna, it is what it is. You've got 73 million.
So you're saying that Joe
people
Biden didn't win the election, but that you're moving on? I just want to be very clear about what you're saying.
No, let's be very clear. I've said I'm moving on. He's the president, and he needs our support. He needs our prayers. And we've got a virus in front of us that needs to be focused on. And so the election, we've got another election coming up in 2 years, the midterms, and in 4 years from now, another presidential election, and we can work toward that. But let's get past 2020 and move on.
All right, sir, I will just say many people have not moved on. They believe, as you put it, have concerns about the election. Many of them believe that it was inaccurate, and there were people in positions of power, including yourself, who gave them reason to believe that. But look, sir, we certainly appreciate having you on. All of these are important issues to cover. We really appreciate the efforts that you are making on coronavirus vaccines. Reverend Franklin Graham, thank you for being with us.
God bless. Thank you, Brianna.